This is an It's Your Break production, so sit back and take a break. Welcome to It's Your Break. Hi, I'm Jonathan Mertz, and coming up, we're going to be talking about festivals, and one in particular. It is the Shelbyville Art and Craft Show, and it's coming up next here on It's Your Break. Subscribe to the It's Your Break podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, YouTube, and iHeartRadio. And now, back to It's Your Break. Welcome back to It's Your Break. Hi, I'm Jonathan Mertz. And today's show is focused around festivals, which the entire month of August has been. But today, we are talking about the Shelbyville Fall Arts and Crafts Show. And right now, joining me from ArtSpark Productions, the people behind the show, is Sherry Kramer. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm delighted to be here.
And before we get into talking about the event, which is the Shelbyville Art and Craft Show that we're going to be talking about in a few minutes, let's talk about that company and how it got started.
Yes. Well, I've been in the tourism industry for over 25 years. And I loved being involved with small businesses and with events, helping plan events, more so on the financial side. So I wasn't the most favorite person because I try to keep everybody within budget. And I also try to help promote events to make more money and in a larger industry. And so when I decided to retire, I retired early. I created this company right before COVID. So that was lovely timing, but it gave me a chance to do a lot of research and visit different places where I'd like to have a show that normally doesn't have a show due to somebody doesn't think there's a good market for it, or there's been rules in place in small county governments that was hindering having events. But I could tell there was a lot of people during COVID that created wonderful crafts trying to make money on the side if they were laid off. And I wanted to build that side of the business up. So we created these events, and what we do is we give everybody a chance to promote their craft, and they're small businesses too, just like you and I. So we try our very best to promote them. We limit the number of categories of craft in our show, so we don't have 10 candle makers. So there's one or two candle makers, there's one or two soap makers, woodworkers, that type of categories of craft, so that everybody can make some profit. There's a little bit of competition there, but it's able to showcase their work, and we try to look for sponsorships and make deals with convention centers and the fairgrounds where this show coming up is going to be, to make it reasonable for these small businesses to grow.
That's interesting. And I like the fact that you thought about the concept of oversaturation. So, and not having too many of the same vendors there. Mm-hmm. So that's a pretty interesting concept. And what was, was there even some past experience that made you really think about that?
Yes. My daughters are wonderful artists. They didn't get it from me. But they did, one did stained glass, and the other one is a painter. They were going to craft shows, and I was helping her set up. And what they found was they were being taken advantage of, overcharged for their space, not promoted very much at all. And they weren't even checked to see if they could, need a drink of water on these 90-degree days. And so what we do is we make sure we check on our artisans throughout the day. We have help loading in the mornings, and we also provide help loading out. We provide security on site, especially overnight, so they don't have to pack up if it's more than a one-day show. So their items left in their tent are taken care of. And I think people really enjoy some help, because a lot of people, it's mostly women that are the artists, and they do it by themselves, or they'll have a friend come help them, or a family member, but it's still pretty daunting to put up those tents. So we have folks that come in and help them with that, so they can work on setting up their booth, the way they want, because they're very particular about how their booth is set up, and they take great pride in that. So we enjoy seeing it. It's like having a reunion every year.
I mean, these concepts and these things that you think about, you just normally wouldn't, worry about it. I mean, you could be someone like the capitalist, like, yeah, it's dog eat dog world out there. It's, I'm charging whatever. But you actually think a little bit more open-minded about that stuff. That's pretty cool.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, really cool. And let's get talking about this event that's going on here in the upcoming weeks, which is the third annual Shelbyville Fall Art and Crafts Show, which you all are putting on. How did this event get started?
Well, I approached the fairgrounds because I had looked through their calendars and through Facebook posts over several years, and I found that there was no art shows there. There had been one several years before COVID, and it was no longer there. She was moving the show to Louisville, so I started asking around and finding out why, and I found out that there was a permit that each vendor had to pay for in order to attend a show. So what we did is we've talked to some people, and we approached them with this idea of having this fun, family-friendly event that benefits local animal shelters, and they've waived the permit for these artisans. So that's decreased the cost, and that kept artisans from not coming to any type of show. It was just so expensive. I have artisans coming from Tennessee, Ohio, Indiana, and of course Kentucky. So there's some people going to be spending the night. So that's, what we call heads in the bed. Not that many, but we got a few. We've got, they'll go to restaurants later that night because our show's in fairly reasonable, 3, 4 o'clock, so that the artisan can, relax and kind of take in parts of the city. I've had people that have come to my shows, and I ask them, we do like a post-event wrap-up, and I ask them what they think about Shelbyville and what they liked and didn't like, and they'll tell me about the restaurants they went to and the shops that they've went to, and they all rave about how wonderful the people of Shelbyville are.
Yeah, my only complaint living here for so long is our downtown area has no parking,
No.
Basically. Even though they put in a couple, like, public lots, they're not close enough, to the main downtown. And, it's not that feasible. And the sad thing is, there are so many unique businesses down there that really need some love and attention, so. They
do. And that Stargazer Plaza is a beautiful venue. They just need just a little bit more room, and not so close to such a busy road,
Right.
They could really do some really great things. And I've talked to the people down on Main Street of possibly having an event in the future. But it's still in the infancy stage. Some of these sometimes take years to develop and get the right permissions and get the right area and get the right stakeholders in place. But then when it happens, it's the best feeling in the world that first day when you start seeing everyone set up and people are coming in and they're having their hot dog, or they're hanging out in the petting zoo, or they're getting their face painted, and they're shopping and talking to the artisans, and it is a great feeling that first day.
Yeah, I bet it is. It's just like this renewed experience. I like to call it. When you go to the festivals you like every year, it's like when you first get there, it's just like that renewed kind of, you can feel the vibe, you can feel the energy. It's just amazing. And really good festivals will continue the energy all the way to the end. And a lot of that has to do with weather. Sadly enough, but we can't control it, but that's what it is, especially when you have some things outdoors. But one of the things I was thinking about as you were talking about it is the charity that you have for the animal shelters. What led you to pick that specific charity?
Oh, because I love animals. I know that there are several shelters in Shelbyville. They're very, very small. They're 1 or 2 people that are managing it, but they're filling a need that the Shelby County Animal Shelter cannot do. And not that we don't give them money too, because they feel a need too, and they found homes for dogs, and they've been a great partner. All of them have, and we try to provide free booth space for these charities to showcase what they do and get the information out there so that cats and dogs can be adopted.
You know, it takes a big heart sometimes when you think about some of these things, because I mean, there's people who have pets, but they don't want to go beyond their own pet. You know, they don't want to put the extra effort into thinking about everything else. And you get families like that too. Sometimes they're close knit and they don't want to expand. It's a little don't like the outsider stuff, but you know, but it's fascinating that you think about these things and you put it into your event. So it's kind of a trend here. It seems like everything you kind of love, you're wanting to do and put out there into the world.
Yes, like our Christmas shows, they're all geared towards benefiting a children's charity. Because children, you know, on Christmas, so we try to gear that to that. And then our spring shows is more for education. So I kind of somehow came up with this theme for these different shows. So
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
It just evolved on its own.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that at all. When you are going to this event and you've been putting it on for now 3 years, or going to be the third year, what has been some of the most memorable moments from each of these events for you?
Well, it has to be the first year. We had dogs adopted on site, which was really exciting. I got to appear on TV with a llama that was dyed pink. That was pretty memorable. And it was dyed with pink Kool-Aid, not with paint. I had a lot of people get upset with me thinking that we dyed the llama's hair, but no, it's just pink Kool-Aid. But it was the setting it up, because I just retired the week before. Is how it all worked out. So I had 1 week to get everything set up, and the weather was great. It was a flawless setup. There was no miscommunication with anyone, with us in the facility, with the charities, with the vendors. It just went so smooth, and you know, you anticipate the first time you're going to have a couple of hiccups, and it just went great. It really did. But that was just a 2-day show that year. We just expanded to 3 days this year, and we're incorporating more music. So we're very excited about that.
Oh, that is cool. So what type of music are you going to be displaying?
It's just, we're going to have Jordan Bentley. He is a guitar player. I found him at another show, Silo Days, which is a beautiful venue. And he was there singing, and we talked for a little while. So he's going to sing for us on Friday night. So I'm very excited. But we're hoping to expand that more throughout the weekends. I think people would enjoy, you know, having their sandwich or having a soda or an ice cream and listening to a little music, you know, as they're going through the venue shopping. Because we're going to set it up where it's more of a park-like flow. The fairgrounds has totally redone their pavement, and everything's nice and smooth, because last year we saw that people in wheelchairs and strollers and walkers were having a hard time navigating, you know, a little bit of gravel, a little uneven pavement, and the grass. So what we're going to do is set up all the booths where the patrons will be on concrete or all the time. So it's going to be more winding paths rather than just rows of booths. You know, I think there'll be better airflow, and we do put spaces in between the booth space so that people can breathe. They're not, you know, I don't know if you've ever been to a show where they're literally on top of each other.
Yeah,
and
sometimes the Dogwood Festival gets that way downtown, so.
Yeah, we have one that we work with Cindy, and we have an extension of that festival out at the fairgrounds. So... and we donate money to the Education Foundation. But, you know, I saw the space, and I see how they incorporate it. They do a great job doing that. They've only got so much space there, where at the fairgrounds we could expand to include a large group of patrons. We've got over 100 booths signed up so far for the Fall Festival, and we've still got 3 weeks before the applications close. So... that's when the phone starts ringing off the hook. People kind of watch the weather, and I understand there's some people that can't take the heat, and we try to accommodate those people too. So make sure they don't get overheated. We make sure there's plenty of ice water. We'll give out ice water throughout the day, and it seems to work out really well.
So one of the things that I want to ask is, what is your future vision for this festival, or any of your festivals, I guess, to I guess continue to grow? What do you have? Do you have a plan in place? Is there anything on your wish list?
Well, wish list, I would like to see get more sponsors involved, of course, especially if we're going to incorporate music, because some of the more well-known artists do cost more. I'm working with the fairgrounds to hopefully buy a stage and a new sound setup, and that we could possibly have concerts next summer behind the horse ring, because you've got that long lawn. But there is a perfect place to have music, because again, the musicians are small businesses too, and I think that they need to be supported too, and just any type of art. I love all kinds of art. It might not be suitable for my home or for my taste, but I do appreciate all of it. I really do, and we try to bring in people that make something different than most people do, and they sell really well. I have to say the folks of Shelbyville really do support these events.
I've seen quite a bit of turnout, and this is one festival I have not been to yet. So it was on my list for this year to get out there for this one.
Come out and say hello. I'd love to meet
will.
you in
I'll
person.
see you in person and say hello. I'll try to track you down. Before I let you go here, I want to give you an opportunity to kind of just give us some information, tell people how they can contact you, talk about a little bit more events you got going on after this, and what's to expect in the future if you want to.
Well, they can go to our website, ArtSparkProductions.com. All of our events are listed there. You click on the button and you enter all your information electronically. I ask for 2 pictures to be uploaded because I do advertise for the artisans leading up to the show on Facebook and Instagram and all the neighborhood Facebook pages, not just in Shelbyville, but in Spencer, Washington County, Oldham County. It was Mount Washington, Oldham County, in Louisville as well. I do kind of take a consensus with people that leave our show. I ask them where they're from, and I've gotten people from Frankfurt, from New Albany, that drive all the way out to see what our artisans are going to provide, because they see it on the Facebook pages. So we're very excited about that. And we have 3 Christmas shows coming up, and they're filling up quick. One at the Shelby County Convention Center in November 18th. We've also got 2 shows in Louisville, December 2nd in J-Town, and a Sunday show, the 17th, at Woodhaven Country Club. So we bring a Mr. and Mrs. Claus out, and we have photo ops, and we do have music, Christmas carols, and group singing at those shows too. So they can contact us at artsparkproductions.com. Our email address is on there, and we really like helping first-time artisans. We kind of baby them a little bit, and we show them how they can grow their business. That's one of my favorites, is artisans that are just they don't know how good they are, and they get out there and they're genuinely surprised that their art sells because it's so good, and they don't realize how good they are. So we tend to promote them quite a bit. So that's fun. That's another fun part I love. But yeah, we're very excited about the future. I'm looking to possibly add, if we do anything, it would be add more music to our shows, or possibly produce some small concerts, that type of thing. handpick specific artisans that would incorporate in with the music. We're going to grow. It's going to be very exciting couple of years.
It sounds like it. It sounds like it's going to be really eventful. So, so as we're talking about events and festivals.
But I do wish you come out, and we are going. I did want to mention that this is a dog-friendly event. So if you've got dogs that are on a leash and well behaved, we love to bring those out. That's another fun part about this event, is having all the dogs come out. Some of the vendors put water bowls out for the pooches and dog treats and that kind of stuff. So that's kind of fun to watch too. But it is a dog-friendly event.
And everybody go out and see the Shelbyville Fall Arts and Crafts Show. And Sherry, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you. You have a great day.
This episode of It's Your Break was not a paid advertisement. The thoughts and comments of the host or guests are those of the individual speaking and not necessarily that of It's Your Break or Spark a Vision. Follow Jonathan Mertz on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram at Jonathan Mertz. Follow It's Your Break on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram at It's Your Break. Subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube, and the iHeartRadio app. This episode of It's Your Break was hosted, announced, engineered, edited, and produced by Jonathan Mertz, and was recorded and produced at the Spark a Vision Studios. All sound effects were obtained through Sound Ideas, Pro Sound Effects, iStock, Avid, and Spark a Vision. It's Your Break is owned and distributed by Spark a Vision. Copyright It's Your Break. All rights reserved.